Hi, I'm Veronica, and I'm going to teach you how to make beeswax candles. So what you'll need is beeswax pellets or a beeswax bar. I prefer the pellets because it melts faster and more evenly. You will also need a wick with the metal bottom because you're going to first hot glue this piece into your glass jar and make sure it's centered or else your candle is going to be off. Coconut oil because it helps the candles burn slower. I usually add half a cup per 12 ounces of beeswax. You will need a pot, any pot. Boil some water, make sure it's really hot, and you're going to have this or anything. You can use a boiling bag. I have this tin, so when this is boiling I add this into the boiling water and I add my beeswax in and I wait for that to melt. And I use a chopstick to stir it because wax is really hard to get off of mostly anything. So while that's melting, I have my jar ready. It will be already centered and hot glued down. And once the wax is done, I'm gonna stir it and make sure it's even. That's when I will add half a cup of coconut oil. And you can add, I sometimes like to add rose petals, lavender. You can dye them, and you can add a fragrance. But you have to wait till your wax is melted and the coconut oil is completely melted if you're going to add anything to them. So once that's all done, it will usually take about 10 minutes for the wax to melt and an additional 5 minutes for everything else, like the coconut oil, fragrance, anything to be really mixed in there. And once it's all melted, you don't want to wait to pour because everybody knows wax hardens fast. So immediately you're going to take it out of the pot, and that's when you will pour it with your wick inside of the jar. You're going to pour your wax in. You can make, usually with 1 pound of beeswax, you can make about 3 of these, 3 8-ounce candles. And you're gonna let it set for at least 45 minutes to an hour. And don't touch it or move it because it will mess up the hardening process of the wax. So after all of that, you will usually get a candle like this. I made this one about 3 days ago, and this is just beeswax with some wild orange essential oil, and I let it sit for an hour and I jarred it up. And I usually wait about a few days before actually burning it just to make sure everything has set and it's not too soft. So with these ingredients, you can make a ton of different candles. You can use silicone, silicone shapes to make different shaped candles. I have cross candles. With this method is also how you make taper candles. So you, instead of putting the wax inside to boil, you will just be dipping it back and forth to make a thick candle on both sides, and then you cut it in the center. But it's a really easy method, and it's good for the air and yourself, and it's fun. Thanks.